Good morning. Today we have a very interesting interview. I'm here with Gregory Salerian from the Washington Center for Psychiatry. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your practice and yourself?
Well, I work at Washington Center for Psychiatry. I'm a psychotherapist there since 2006. I do private practice, individually based for the most part. I work with anxiety disorders, depression, some schizophrenia, a lot of ADD, ADHD, and most recently a lot of pain work.
Wow, that sounds great. That sounds very interesting. So tell me a little bit about the types of people that you've seen, I guess, in your career.
It's a wide range of people. I've been mostly seeing people that range from the ages of 18 to 65. Generally speaking, I don't have exact figures, but it's more women than men.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
More recently, I have been doing more adolescent work, which I really enjoy. But my main focus has been just generally adults with anxiety.
Okay. So, one of the things that we were talking about while we were prepping for the interview was your practice and some of the seasonal effects of the practice. So would you say that your practice is seasonal?
Absolutely. During the winter months, I would say between Thanksgiving and around New Year's, people's stresses go up.
Right.
And they're not feeling as well, and therefore I end up seeing more people.
Right.
In the summer months, people are busier, they're more active, there's more sunlight,
Absolutely.
and people are feeling better.
Yeah, and just relating it to the last time we talked about the major blizzard that hit us, I don't think anybody can really forget that. So how did that affect people's moods? I mean, did you see an uptick in some of your patients and just an uptick in moods and things like that?
Absolutely. And what I would see it as, our city, our region has not experienced anything like that in a very, very long time.
It's true.
But if you kind of back away from it, it's what I would call it was a stressful event. Unlike anything we've seen. And stressful events, they take people that are already having some difficulties and it exacerbates things. Makes them unable to deal with the overall picture.
Interesting.
And so you see there's a spillover effect.
Okay.
But what really was what put things over the edge was the second storm.
Really?
People seem to manage for the most part the first one, but when the second one came, people were fed up, had enough. People were out of food, they were out of medicine, they were out of electricity. The civil service had no chance to repair things. People didn't have a chance to go see their doctors, go get their medicines. Stores didn't have time to refill their supplies.
Right.
So there was a double impact.
Interesting. Okay. Tell me about why these feelings are typical during the type of weather. I mean, obviously, the winter, it's darker, it's colder, it's drearier, but is there a different, explanation that would account for why feelings are like this?
Well, overall, in the winter months, the sunlight changes, the angle of the sun changes, and with that there are chemical changes. One of them is melatonin. And it gets altered with levels of sunlight. In the winter, there's less of it, and it monitors sleep. There's less sleep, our ability to deal with stress goes down.
Right.
So there's the overall winter effect. Now, with the blizzard, you get then a confinement effect.
Right.
And when people are confined, there's studies that have shown that when you're confined, stress hormones go up.
It's like cabin fever,
yes.
And I'm sure everybody has kind of experienced a little bit of cabin fever during the blizzard.
Right, absolutely. And then, you can take it a step further, and for people that are already vulnerable to depression and anxiety, their chances of having an adverse effect during the blizzard or just after is much higher. So what would you recommend? I mean, when people start to feel this, cabin fever, anxiety, anxiousness, how do you treat that, or what are symptoms that people should look for? I mean, when do you really know when to get help? And then when you do get help, somebody in your profession, how do you know how to treat them? Really, the best way for these situations to be mitigated is to be problem solving when it's not happening. So that when it does happen, you have more room for error, we can call it that. Right. So dealing with, if you're having relationship problems, not ignoring them, addressing them, so that when you get into a stressful event, that's not as much of an issue. If you have health issues, dealing with the health issues on a daily basis, so that it doesn't have a huge impact during that stressful time. And then in the stressful time, the things that most of us have probably talked about, trying to do some exercise, having hobbies, cooking. Right. So these are things that everybody, our viewers, can actually do, on an everyday basis, whether it's winter, summer, fall, or spring. Is just keeping yourself,
healthy emotionally, physically, and mentally.
I think one of the biggest things, of course, is paying attention to your biology and your physical and problem solving. Problem solving, not ignoring your problems, because as we know, they're not going anywhere.
Right.
Maybe in some ways, I shouldn't frame it as problem solving.
Okay.
It's life management. If we look at it as problems, then we don't really want to pay any attention to it. But if you just look at it as managing factors in life and rolling with the flow, then maybe we would take a different approach to it.
So you've talked about what people can do in everyday life, right, in terms of life management, problem solving, things like that. Where does the line kind of get drawn where people have to seek help, and where do you come in?
Well, the way that I always look at it is level of dysfunction and quality of life.
Okay.
Kind of the two bottom lines. If someone's level of dysfunction, let's say with anxiety or depression, gets to a point where they're not enjoying their life, they're not enjoying their family, their quality of life has gone down, their activity has gone down, it's time to seek some help.
Right.
And you may even want to do it a little bit before that.
So be a little proactive.
Yes. I take a view of brain health.
Okay.
I would like in the future for it to be no different than how we view dentistry now. Every 6 months, people go and they get their teeth checked, just in case, to catch the cavity early. People don't do that with brain health. That's reactive. They do it once something is wrong.
Right. Well,
and it makes it much harder.
That's a whole health insurance topic as well, right? Yes. I mean, is that covered by health insurance, things like that? But that's a very interesting, not even theory, but a topic, right? We do go to the dentist. We do, if we feel a bone or something like that hurting, we do get an X-ray or an MRI or something like that. But we do not go in and get, a CAT scan